WRKS Pickens Jackson.
All systems go.
Live from the Whiskey 61 Lounge inside the Bank Plus studio.
Is sound warning.
Live in the studio.
It's the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds.
Streaming live worldwide on the Out of Bounds radio app.
And on your radio at ESPN 105.9.
All set? Let's go.
The Zone.
All right, good morning. Welcome in. Hope you had a great weekend. We did. We are the Out of Bounds Show. 105.9 The Zone, ESPN, WRKS. Powered by our friends at the Golden Moon Casino Sportsbook. Always presented by award-winning Dancing Rabbit Golf Club. Bet 50 at the Sportsbook. Play Dancing Rabbit for $30. We are live in the Bank Plus studio, streaming live for you on the Out of Bounds radio app. It's new. Please download it if you have not. Give yourself something free on a Monday. And the Farm Bureau Insurance call-in line is 601-707-3750. Twitter handle at BoBounds. And the Mississippi Ag John Deere Tractor text line is 601-885-3776. I've got the Blakey Blakester with me. I'm your host, Bo Bounds. We've got a good show lined up for you today. We'll go to Mike Uva at 8:30, South Carolina Gamecock insider. Will Muschamp, relieved of his duties, let go by South Carolina after Ole Miss embarrasses Will Muschamp and the South Carolina team, especially late in the game, and their defense. So we'll do that at 8:30, and then at 9:30, of course, like we do every Monday, we'll have Brad Edwards, College Game Day on ESPN Radio, to recap the weekend, but I guess more importantly, look ahead, since it was a little bit weird. The Masters helped us for sure, but it was a light schedule on Saturday. I know that most of you were locked into Kentucky and Vanderbilt, but then we had the two night games in Arkansas at Florida, and then Ole Miss at South Carolina. And I tell you what, this Ole Miss offense, the personnel that Lane Kiffin inherited, you got to give Phil Longo and some others credit that it was a perfect match. Dave Johnson said, I guess 3 months ago on this show, he said, Matt Corral is a perfect fit for this offense, and he is. And then when you start to look at all their weapons on offense, it just fits perfectly into what Kiffin and Levy want to do, and they've done a great job with the offense. And Ole Miss, for the most part, other than, a couple of hiccups, they have rolled and really done whatever they wanted on offense. 3 teams have done that for the most part. Alabama, Florida, and Ole Miss. They're the most dynamic. They can hurt you through the air. They can hurt you on the ground. They have excellent quarterback play. Matt Corral is almost playing with defenses and secondaries, and they picked on South Carolina throughout the night. And they're rolling. And, if they play against A&M, I expect Ole Miss's offense to continue to roll against A&M, Mississippi State, LSU. And, well, we'll see what happens over the next few weeks. So, Corral, Elijah Moore, we've talked about it for a while. He is a premier talent, and everybody's trying to cover him, and yet he's still open. So I guess that's a combination of Kiffin, Corral, and then Elijah Moore. Just basically nobody can cover him in the game. I don't know of any team that's going to cover him, and I'm sure A&M's already flipped on the film, and they're like, he's always open. Why is that? And then he's got hands that if you throw it, you notice even when Corral is off, Elijah Moore catches the football. He just doesn't drop anything. And you look at, not having Mingo didn't even faze him with Drummond and others. Ely played well. Snoop played well. Yeboah got back into the mix, which was good to see. So when you have that many guys, Sanders and so on, when you have that many guys running open, it's almost impossible to guard. And what was South Carolina doing? They were running a power spread, and it puts an enormous amount of pressure, well, in South Carolina's case, on your running back to make big plays from 5-6 yards behind the line of scrimmage. And so that was more of a Dan Mullen offense, and their quarterback wasn't really a threat. And so when you mix that together, they could not score with Ole Miss. That's why South Carolina, Mississippi State, among other schools, have to make the transition to a passing game. What Ole Miss can do, what Florida, look at what Dan's doing. He's going away from his Big Ten power spread, and he's allowing his quarterback to spray it all over the field and mix in a vertical passing game too. And that it's too much pressure on your quarterback and running back to run zone read now all the way down the field when people can open it up and get you short, intermediate, but also Ole Miss went deep too. And basically Kiffin can scheme you up, make you think they're doing this, and then boom, they're doing something else. And so Will Muschamp's let go at South Carolina. We'll see what are they in the Hugh Freeze sweepstakes? Are they in the Billy Napier sweepstakes? Obviously, the Coastal Carolina guy, Jamie Chadwell, is a hot name, but is that? I don't think the fan base would get all hot and bothered over. Not that he's not an excellent coach, over Coastal Carolina's Jamie Chadwell, but the buzz will be Freeze first. He's kind of leapfrogged Napier, and then Napier, and then some other guys. I see here where Sarkisian's name is mentioned. Will they even get to a Jeff Brom? We'll see. But South Carolina is the first team, and we always, they're not going to make a move because of money and COVID. Man, if 8 to 10, or I don't know if it is, let's say it's 4 to 6, 6 to 12 guys, whatever it is, if they get together and decide they want to write the check, it's their money. It's private money that will go to somewhere close to around $15 million, give or take. We'll see if they can negotiate that down. Arkansas still hasn't paid Brett Bielema, the rest of his buyout. Doesn't look like they're going to, or maybe they're not going to unless forced. Mike Leach didn't get his buyout at Texas Tech. If you kind of have, I guess, maybe the local court. Oh, this could bleed into what's going on that. But anyway, if you have maybe the say-so in your state, maybe you can delay it to the point where the coach who is gone is not going to, or maybe he's not going to spend his resources to fight you as maybe a private donation entity / the university. I don't know. Either way, it's going to be around $15 million, and evidently Ray Tanner either already had it in the bank or was able to make a few phone calls and get it. Now, when you're a national championship coach, you can do that maybe easier than an AD who's just an AD. I mean, this guy's still a natty coach. He's going to get another chance to make the hire. I wonder if this will be it for him, though. I mean, how big a hire is this for? Oh, I'm referencing Ray Tanner, two-time national championship coach in baseball, who's now the athletic director. Will Muschamp was a terrible hire. If he couldn't get it done at Florida, why in the world would you think he could get it done at South Carolina? Bad hire. And for Ray Tanner to extend him in that way, again, bad financial decision, but I guess Jimmy Sexton makes you do it. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. The Out of Bounds show is powered by Mississippi Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Center, Welcome in. Big board coming up next. SEC Insider Hit at 7:30.
They got Muschamp.
The Out of Bounds Show would like to welcome in Welcome Home Beef Butcher Market in Starkville, Mississippi, a premium butcher shop in Starkville that serves delicious cuts of ribeyes, New York strips, fillets, porterhouses, and more. Welcome Home Beef will ship anywhere in the country. You can stop by and check them out on Main Street in Starkville. Visit welcomehomebeef.com. That's welcomehomebeef.com. It's going to be interesting to see how many bowl games we salvage and how many teams from the Southeastern Conference actually go to bowl games, because Ole Miss is looking good at 3-4. And of course, if you're 3-4, what does that mean? You're 3-4 in the league because it's conference only. Matt Corral was 28 of 32. I want you to think about that for a second. Matt Corral was 28 of 32, and Kyle Trask was 23 of 29. Is the day and age over of stopping people? I mean, do we just not have enough corners and safeties? And then, trying to ask linebackers to do certain things is just too much pressure on the back end? I mean, you've got the Vanderbilt quarterback looking good the last 2 weekends. So if you have any and by the way, I think this past weekend was kind of an exclamation point on what I said last week. And I know I'm a degenerate SEC college football fan because I watch Vandy in Kentucky. But Vandy doesn't just have better offensive personnel than Mississippi State. A 5-year-old kid could watch the game and pick up on that. I mean, that's where Dan Mullen, to a certain extent, but Joe Moorhead left the Mississippi State program. Whereas Kiffin was left the absolute perfect personnel, because what Longo / Freeze were doing is right within a whisker of what Kiffin and Levy are doing. And so when you walk in and you're like, oh, I got Elijah Moore, I got Matt Corral, I got Ely, I got Drummond, I got Sanders, they recruited Yeboah, huge. And Matt Luke, say what you want about him as a head coach, that toughness component was still there in that program. And Paul Jackson, I think, did a great job at Ole Miss. Where is he today? Or where was he? I guess he still is, technically. South Carolina hired him away from not away. He got let go in the Matt Luke transition. Kiffin wanted to bring in his own guy. But, Vanderbilt has better offensive personnel than Mississippi State. And Ole Miss is sitting there at 3-4. You got A&M. You got MSU. And you got LSU. If you go 5-5, now if you sweep it, holy smokes. But you should beat Mississippi State by whatever number you want to beat them by, and LSU. That's 5-5 in a conference-only schedule.
Might be early Christmas present for Jimbo Fisher to get this game canceled this weekend.
Yeah, there's just a lot of noise around all the games now, I guess, but definitely Georgia and Mississippi State and A&M and Ole Miss. I'm sure there's others. I'll need to pull up the schedule for Week 12. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Week 12. So that's Florida at Vanderbilt. I know y'all will all be locked into that, DVR. LSU at Arkansas. Ole Miss at A&M. Kentucky at Bama.
Yeehaw.
Tennessee at Auburn. God, Pruitt was going to lose this past weekend and this weekend. And then Missouri at South Carolina, and South Carolina has an interim coach, Mike Bobo, former Georgia quarterback, was the offensive coordinator under Mark Richt. Eventually took the head coaching job at Colorado State, and then left Colorado State to be Will Muschamp's OC. Now he's the interim head coach. I don't expect them to strongly consider Mike Bobo. You would have to believe that's Hugh Freeze, Billy Napier, Steve Sarkisian, among others. And I think South Carolina will go back to offense. You just get the sense that they'll go with an offensive-minded guy. And there'll be some others in the mix. We'll see. We mentioned the Coastal Carolina coach. Not that anybody here would be following Coastal Carolina, but his name is Jamie Chadwell. There was some talk that Southern Miss was interested in him and some other guys, but we'll see how that looks. We're live in the Bank Plus studio, the Out of Bounds Show. Big Board's brought to you by Mississippi Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Center. Friday Night Lights, always powered by Mississippi Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Center. You can visit MississippiSportsMedicine.com, and they have a new surgery center and clinic, Lakeland Drive, Flowwood. It's a state-of-the-art surgery center and clinic, Lakeland Drive, Flowwood, powered by Mississippi Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Center. Hope you're doing well. Congratulations to Dustin Johnson for winning the Masters.
Ooh, baby.
And pulling away.
Major record.
Major
record for 20 under.
20 under. What about DJ, man? The guy was just awesome all weekend. And what's scary is he could have easily, I guess you could say this about all of them, but there were some putts that he left out there, and yet he left the field. Once Justin Thomas kind of lost it there for a second late in his third round, I thought, darn it, I wanted Justin Thomas and DJ. I wanted JT and DJ all the way down the stretch on Sunday, but we didn't do it. Tiger dropped a 10 3 times in the drink.
Woof.
Yesterday, and then comes back, and what did he do? 6 or 7 birdies? Talking about just what a freak. It's like he lost it, and then he gets it right back.
Is there I'm sure there's somebody in tennis. I think I remember that. Some guy in tennis that always won on clay. Was that Nadal or something like that? Feels like Tiger at Augusta is like a different thing. It doesn't matter how good Tiger's been in any other tournament for the last however many days.
Yeah.
Tiger on Augusta is just a different animal.
Yeah.
Throws a 10 and then comes back with massive birdies just to put himself not in contention, but back in a respectable condition. I mean, he's a freak.
He is.
That course, he just knows better. I mean, better than he knows himself.
Yeah. Yeah. No. But it was a fun tournament. Look, you want fans, but at least they got to pull it off. I think the Snowflakes were, here's another huge event in the books, as they don't want anything fun to happen. Kudos to the Masters, and it was still fun to watch it throughout the weekend. I locked into a good bit of it. I do want to see Justin Thomas, win that tournament for whatever reason. I was pulling for JT and DJ to be within like a stroke down the stretch, but hey.
Did have this conversation with multiple people over the Masters weekend, and I'd love to get your thoughts on the other side, maybe, or just quickly. Is there any chance golf can have half a Tiger, a quarter of a Tiger, somebody to bring people's eyeballs back? Because Tiger makes people like golf, but outside of that, there's just not that entertainment value anymore. The dominant run of 20 years is over, and I don't know if we'll ever see anything like it.
Paulina Gretzky could bring more people to the table. That would be Dustin Johnson's. Is it his wife or girlfriend? I can't remember what they decided to do, but either way, she's drop dead gorgeous, and that is DJ's either wife or girlfriend. They've been together forever and had kids and so on. No, there's not a golfer, to answer your question, Blake, to bring eyeballs to the TV like Tiger. There won't be another one, probably ever, but in even your lifetime. Live in the Bank Plus studio, SEC Insider Hit coming up next. This Ole Miss offense is on fire. Matt Luke and the Ole Miss Rebels absolutely dismantled the South Carolina Gamecocks, to the point South Carolina fires Will Muschamp. We'll talk about that in the SEC Insider Hit.
Bank Plus, together with Zelle, makes it easy to send money straight from your smartphone to friends, family, the yard guy, babysitters, or millions of others with access to Zelle. So yeah, pretty much anyone. And of course, they can all send you money too. Settle that dinner tab with Zelle. It's free, fast, and secure. And right in the Bank Plus mobile app. Your bank, your plus. Learn more at bankplus.net. Member FDIC. Zelle is available to United States bank account holders only. Terms and conditions apply.
Everyone ready?
This is the SEC Insider Hit. Presented by your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent. Go local. Go with a home team.
Oh, man. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome in. Big weekend for Ole Miss. They're now 3-4. And they, I think watching the game, did you ever really think that South Carolina was going to hang on? I didn't. I know that South Carolina could run at will on Ole Miss's defense. And that tailback's, he's a nice player. But did you ever really think that South Carolina was going to get enough stops to win the game? I didn't. The 59-42, holy smokes. Where are we going with this? The teams that can actually do this at a high level, Alabama, Ole Miss, and Florida. And by the way, who's next? Who can put that type of offense on the field?
Statistically, it's LSU this season.
It is. Well,
they've had a bad game, but they've actually played pretty well offensively. They're the fourth rated offense in the SEC.
And to me, that's a big drop from
I agree.
from Bama, Ole Miss, and like it's Bama, Ole Miss, and Florida. Mm-hmm. And then there's a sizable gap between those three who are like, they're riding around in a Lamborghini. And to me, LSU would be in a nice ride.
Yeah.
But not
a Lexus, but not a Lambo.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I think Bama we'll see what they do without Waddle down the stretch against more elite teams, but they had separated themselves, I think, even a little bit ahead of Florida and Ole Miss.
I agree.
Their efficiency numbers have been insane.
It's not by much.
No.
But it is.
It's the talent gap.
It is the talent gap. Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
But I got to give Ole Miss's offensive line. And I know they played a lot. Those guys repped out a good bit last year. But man, oh man, Matt Luke and that crew did a good job. And then Kiffin and his dudes are doing a great job. And look, man, this fits like a glove. David Johnson, Rebels 247, said it 3 months ago. This offense fits Matt Corral and their skill talent perfectly. And give Kiffin and Levy credit, but when you walk in and you inherit Elijah Moore, I know Mingo didn't play, but Drummond, Sanders, Ely, Corral, and so on, it's this thing's humming in year one. And it's those three teams, Bama, Florida, and Ole Miss, that are putting up like Heisman-like offensive numbers.
Video game numbers.
They're putting up video game numbers.
40 points a game.
They were just playing around. Coming off beating Georgia, they started off a little slow, and Florida was just playing around, and Kyle Trask is doing the same thing as Matt Corral, just zipping it around the field, explosive plays. It's you know what it is? It's a lot of fun to watch if you're a fan of one of those three teams. And I think you got to look at the gap and go, what are we doing? Some of the other teams. Well, South Carolina looked at it. I mean, Ray Tanner sat there on Saturday night, right? I'm assuming he's either on the field or in a suite as the athletic director of South Carolina. And he looked at that and he said, we're in year 5 of Will Muschamp. And our only shot to win this game is if our running back runs for 20 to 30 yards of carry. Now, he did have some long, explosive runs, obviously. But he was watching what Ole Miss was doing on offense, and you knew he decided Will Muschamp is never going to get even close to running whatever you want to call it, the new version of the Baylor offense or the new version of just what Lane Kiffin wants to do. But Dan is adjusted. Dan's not worried about running a Big Ten power spread. I don't know if it was this offseason or last or 5 years ago when he opened it up with Dak, even though they didn't have near the personnel, right, that Florida has. But Dan was like, I got to throw the ball. We have to throw this thing around the field, and we will throw it 60% of the time here and run it 40% of the time. And as Hugh Freeze told us last night, that gives us an appearance of being balanced. I'm not last night, last week. The SEC Insider Hit well, maybe he did tell me that last night. The SEC Insider Hit this morning is brought to you by Farm Bureau Insurance. Bundle your auto and home and save with your local Farm Bureau insurance agent in any of the 82 counties. They'll take care of you and your family. That's favorites.com to get a quote in 4 minutes or less. Farm Bureau Insurance call-in line is 601-707-3750. So game balls, again, for the Ole Miss offense and the Florida offense coming off the weekend. Is that easy enough?
63 for the Gators.
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane.
That is.
That's pretty. Because you thought easily they could have another, like, okay, they've got to pull it out in the fourth quarter to win by 20,
Right.
And instead, they just kind of Kyle Trask flexed on them in the first half, and it was over.
Man. Are you surprised that the Ole Miss South Carolina game was as close as it was? For as long?
South Carolina was running for 9 yards a carry.
I know.
You can win any game when you run for 9 yards a carry. I don't know why you'd ever hand it off or why you'd ever do anything but hand it off.
Well, they made the mistake on the third down. I mean, that's the bottom line on that third down late in the game. They had an option,
yeah,
and he decided to throw it, and it was a terrible, it was a bad mistake. The running back would have gotten the first down, and it was that right there that allowed Ole Miss wasn't going to be stopped.
Nope.
And it was that right there that you knew. I didn't think they were going to do it anyway, but when they were stopped there, I said ball game.
Yep. And Ole Miss went on a 21-0 run because South Carolina was up 4. Ole Miss ends up winning by 17. How about this, Bo? How many times did Ole Miss score in under 2 minutes and maybe under 5 plays?
What was it? 5 times?
I think something around there. Okay. Right, including the 91-yard bomb. That was like a 2-play, 93-yard drive.
Kiffin threw up the clipboard, and now that's a meme on the Twitters.
Yeah, they're going to probably do some clipboard thing for like the students or something like that. I'm sure they're going to do some big promotion. It's smart marketing. But what's the difference? How many times did South Carolina face a pivotal third down in the third and fourth quarter because they had to drive the ball and face second down and third down and second down and third down and second down? And that's – in premise, that's the whole philosophy of offense. That's why offenses are changing. We have people on the text line talking about that. Where's
are they saying hello to us this morning?
That's right. Where's the defense? Why are people not playing defense? Well, it's not that they're not playing defense. It's just offense is so much more dynamic and complex in what they force the defense to do now, and they're more efficient and they're better run. And the good offenses are going to make you play elite defense.
What did you make of Lane Kiffin lining up Elijah Moore in the backfield?
They put him he played slot, outside, running back, split in. I mean, they put him everywhere.
So I think we forget because he was unbelievable with 225 yards through the air. He had 6 rushes for 45 yards.
It's pretty wild.
7.5 yards a carry. You can't stop him. It doesn't matter what they do with him. He's one of the top playmakers, not in the SEC, in the country. So Ole Miss with the big win. They've got 2 more wins on their schedule at least. If we get this A&M game this weekend, I expect that this could be one of the better college football games of the weekend if we get Ole Miss at A&M. Now, I'm almost to the point where I'm checking Twitter to see what Brett McMurphy's going to tell us about every 5 minutes.
The harbinger of doom.
Yeah, because the games are getting canceled left and right because of 53 Scullies, 6 offensive linemen, da-da-da-da-da. So I don't know if Mississippi State at Georgia is going to happen. I think it's what, 50-50?
I guess at this point.
I don't know. I mean, you test them all week, so this could go all the way down to like Friday at 10 a.m. And Mississippi State basically has no wiggle room.
No, they're one opt-out away from canceling the season at this point, it seems like.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Mississippi State has – I couldn't believe how close it was them playing Vanderbilt. They don't play Auburn. I mean, they're down to like 1 or 2 players rolls an ankle or gets COVID or test positive, and you're not playing again. And then A&M was fighting it last week too. Now Ole Miss wants to play. I mean, when that offense travels, Blake. That offense. You remember how growing up defense travels?
Yeah,
defense.
It's like in basketball. Three-pointers don't travel. You got to play defense.
Ask some of these Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. What?
No, the 3-point. You can't shoot threes on the road in basketball. That's what I was always told.
Right.
You got to have a good defense on the road. Defensive and rebounding travels in basketball, not shooting.
Sure. And
same
now,
with offense.
What travels? An awesome passing game in football and the 3-point shot in basketball. I can go into your gym and beat you on the perimeter if my coach understands that that's where the game is going. Now, there's still coaches that are trying to Patrick Ewing basketball, still trying to, that didn't even work in 1996 against the Bulls.
Let alone now.
Phil Jackson was laughing. He had 2 40-year-old centers, but they were just enough. So they were playing on the perimeter at that point. Not like Golden State, but you know what I mean. Okay, we have to advance it, right?
For
phases.
the time.
Okay. Phil Jackson is over there laughing about he didn't even care about the center position in the 90s.
Because you don't have to.
The Knicks were trying to run their offense. This is Mississippi State prior to Mike or what Mike Leach is trying to do. They were trying, everything had to be perfect. Ewing would have to be on the block. The pass had to be perfect. His footwork had to be perfect. All that. And now you look at today, South Carolina had to be perfect running the ball. Whereas you have more wiggle room with an offense like Ole Miss running the new Baylor version of whatever. Are we going to the phones?
Yeah, we can. RRB.
All right. Farm Bureau Insurance call-in line is 601-707-3750. Before I go to the phones real quick, Blake, let's talk about 2 guys, one that's already gone and 2 that's on his way out. Will Muschamp in South Carolina.
Gone.
That's a good job. I know it's not a great job, but they're in a great location. They have money, and their proximity to Georgia and so on. They can eat. Again, Will is averaged hanging around about 17 to 20 recruiting-wise.
That's good.
So they got players. Michigan and Jim Harbaugh, Blake, you and I were talking before the show, and I had 2 TVs going Saturday night because I really wanted to see what was going on. I had Michigan, Wisconsin, although I would flip back and forth to Florida, Arkansas. And then, of course, I left Ole Miss and South Carolina on one. It was too entertaining to see 2 teams score every possession.
At will.
was a lot of fun. I mean, I'm sitting there with the beverage and some good food, and I'm like, this is good because the daytime stuff wasn't good, and I was watching the Masters throughout the day. But I'll say this, Blake, Michigan to get embarrassed like that against a nice Wisconsin team, but to not even be competitive at home. And you told me the 28-0 thing. Share that with our listeners.
Yes, so 28-0 at halftime is the worst halftime deficit in Michigan home football history. They have never been down 28-0 at halftime in the Big House, and their total loss, which I believe was like 42-11 or something like that.
Yeah,
that is the worst loss at the Big House since 1935.
1935.
Which is ironically the year
FDR days.
That's the year Jim Harbaugh's offense was invented.
Oh, that was good.
I'll be here all week.
Okay,
baby.
that was good. Nice. I didn't know where you were going to go there, but
That's
the
what it looks
year
like.
that Jim Harbaugh's offense was invented, as Blake said, it was 49-11. Wisconsin beat Michigan.
And it wasn't that close.
Holy
I hate to
Mary
I hate to
Olzab.
break it to you if you didn't watch. It wasn't that close.
And how are they going to break up? You know how there's throughout life, starting whenever you started dating people, there were real clean breakups, and then there were those. You know, when you go through all the blah 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 blah, and for both parties, it's nonsense. The best way to do it is for one or the other to cut the cord. I see it in as I get older. You know, people drag out a marriage for 3 years, knowing that you know where they're going. You know, it's a waste of time, money, heartache, whatever. This thing's going to be interesting, Blake, because one can't break up with the other without both of them coming together. They can't Ray Tanner. They can't pull.
There's
Ray
no
Tanner's
power.
an assassin.
Yeah,
okay.
no.
He was an assassin as a baseball coach. He's a bad dude.
Phil Fulmer. They can't do that at Tennessee. Yeah,
Right.
Same thing.
Right. So if you thought the Matt Luke Ole Miss thing was tough and emotional, okay, because Matt played offensive line during a time when Tommy Tuberville literally rebooted and revitalized Ole Miss football and took them from 1970, Blake, to the 90s overnight, even under probation. Matt was a part of that. He walked on. It was an unbelievable story. Started day one, undersized, eventually got bigger. But he's a great story. He's what we all aspire to be in that particular, example. But Blake, when you've got the chosen one, the chosen son of Jim Harbaugh, played quarterback at Michigan under Bo Schembechler, this breakup could be different than Ray Tanner walking in on Sunday and going, "Will, we appreciate it. We got to let you go." What did Billy Bean say in Moneyball? To who's the dude? I always forget his name.
It's the second Giambi.
No. But yes, that's exactly right. But what did he tell the AGM?
Oh, yeah. You can't get emotional. You can't get connected to them because they're just numbers.
You
They're
got to
just
sit
stats.
down and say, "You've been traded.
Yeah.
You've been cut."
Yeah, they're cutting the little Giambi, not Jason,
Yes.
but the other one.
Here's the number. Thanks for your time. I'm out.
Yep.
I'm sorry. It's just the way it is, right?
Yep.
I mean, I've had to let people go. The short, it's got to be 15 to 30 seconds.
But the issue is, in almost all of those situations, there is a clear and understood power structure, and the dynamic is one-sided. That's why this breakup is hard for Michigan, because they don't know. Michigan's kind of like, well, Jim Harbaugh's always been in charge, and Jim Harbaugh's like, I am in charge, but like, is Michigan gonna fire? Like,
and the
it's
AD
so weird.
and Harbaugh are close. They both played under Schembechler.
Well, they're buddies. They're not peers.
They're what they call Bo's guys up there.
Yeah.
When you played for Schembechler,
Michigan, man.
it's like playing for Vaught or Ron Polk.
Yeah.
And if you were any good, you can take that out on the business street forever, and it's part of this, very exclusive club.
Well, selling insurance in Ann Arbor if you're a Bo's boy is right. Yeah,
Exactly.
like it's no brainer.
Right. Or any of the 8 suburbs around Detroit, man. If you played and had any kind of cachet, you're able to hang that shingle and make a lot of dough.
And you're done.
And you get to go to
all
all the cool stuff around Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
So how do they do that? So we'll keep an eye on that. And then is Hugh Freeze, are Dan Mullen and Hugh Freeze tied at the hip? And here's why I ask this.
Oh, if they play every year.
If we drop Mullen and Freeze in the same division again, what are we going to get considering what we got the first time? They're both excellent at what they do. Freeze has some strengths Dan doesn't have. Mullen has some strengths Freeze doesn't have. But and Florida is taking off on this meteoric rise.
Mm-hmm.
Mix in that Bama, Ole Miss, and Florida are now the cream of the crop offensively, Blake. Mm-hmm. Freeze will turn that South Carolina thing around in about 7 minutes. It will not take him long.
But it will be interesting because he'll have a bigger deficit this time than he did, I think, when he took over Ole Miss facing Mullen at Mississippi State. I think those two programs were closer in where they were than what he'll take over in South Carolina.
And he walked in with Dante Moncrief, he was able to get Bo the same year. That was him.
Give me Dabo and Freeze every year to end the season. He'll
close the gap in a season. We're going to go to the Farm Bureau Insurance call-in line at 601-707-3750. Hope you're doing well. Good morning. We want you to welcome you into the SEC football show of choice in this in the Southeast. And we'll go to the phones, and RRB has some thoughts on the Ole Miss winning 59-42 over the weekend. RRB, what's up?
Hey, Bo. How are y'all?
Good, man.
Well, I mean, you can't really say anything. It was entertaining. I mean, I was sitting there thinking it was the Alabama game again, up and down the field. And this time we just decided to, wave off some field goals and score points instead. And but that's what kind of what it felt like. Let me ask you a question. We're getting toward the end of the season, a few weeks away. And traditionally, you have seniors graduating, and you'll have a senior night on your last home game. Well, with everybody getting a free year, how do you see that playing out? Do you still have senior nights? And if you do, who do you think is actually – which seniors of name notoriety do you think will stay? Which ones do you think are going to go? And do you see any of those guys saying, hey, I'm going to go, and so they have –
Yeah.
Have senior night, and then all of a sudden they decide, well, you know what? I think I'll stay after all.
I don't know. I'm not sure how that looks, buddy, nor do I care. But anyway, Out of Bounds, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. I guess they could have two, or they just won't have it this year. I don't think they're having parents out on the field anyway, so it's not a big deal. I mean, they're not having homecoming courts out because of the social media shaming. And so on. So
the real question
is, if any of you are living your life, then shame on you.
The real question is who comes back from
Right.
a team perspective. It's like, what talent do you get to keep that you normally wouldn't?
Well, it's kind of
get?
like Mississippi State and Ole Miss baseball. They Bianco and Lamonis got to keep several dudes that they did not expect to keep.
Yes.
So I don't know what that looks like, but we'll have plenty of time to look at that later. We're going to go. I don't have much time. Joey, I've got about 20 seconds. What's up, man?
Hey, Bo, if Hugh Freeze lands at South Carolina, Georgia's going to have to just go right where they deserve, to the land of mediocrity. I hate Georgia.
Why? Why do you hate? Just out of curiosity, why do you hate Georgia?
Well, I'm a Florida fan.
Oh,
so
that's right. You're Jacksonville ties. That's right. I got you now.
So it's just kind of fun to do, and not only that, they like to snitch on people, and that's just not nice.
I got you. I
don't like tattletales, Bo.
Oh yeah, they drove the Laramie Tunsil snitching.
Oh, you better believe they did.
Mark Richt was furious over the Laramie Tunsil switch at the 13th hour, and that started the whole thing for I mean, they were already anyway. That was one of the things.
Mark Richt embarrassed some things that he professes when he did that.
Oh, I love it. Thanks for the call, Joey. That was good. Hey, I'm sorry we didn't get to everybody else, but hey, guess what? Farm Bureau Insurance call-in line is open for the biz. 601-707-3750. The show is brought to you by 49 Tire. Valet service. They'll come pick up your vehicle this week at your home or office. This is as good as it gets. And then they'll pick it up. They'll take it to 49 Tire. Oil change, service, maintenance, tires. Boom. Drop it back off at your home or office. That's 49tire.com. Chris and the team will take care of you. The Out of Bounds show is driven by the Continental Tires at 49 Tire in Richland, Mississippi. The show is always presented by Mississippi Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Center. And we're live in the Bank Plus studio. More on Muschamp, Harbaugh, and this Ole Miss offense coming up next.